Welcome, young and old, children of all ages, to Branches Between Generations. I'm your host, Clinton Nellis, and this is a video podcast series where we are taking students from the digital age and connecting them with seniors from Canada's retirement capital. I am recording on the rooftop of Berwick, Parksville, here in our lovely community overlooking Little Mountain. This project is all about our community, showcasing Parksville and connecting our community members who wouldn't otherwise have an opportunity to have these conversations. Yes, there are grandparents who talk with their grandkids, but there aren't a lot of opportunities for strangers to interact with each other. And that's why this is more than a podcast. This is a movement. We want to bring our community together in ways that we haven't before. So without further ado, let me introduce you to our wonderful cast of teens and seniors. Roll clip. So we're going to have our teen guest come in here today. This whole purpose of this podcast is to connect a senior audience with a younger audience. What are your expectations around the conversation today?
I'm quite looking forward to it. It'd be interesting to talk to the young person.
I really haven't thought about it, but I would expect that Keith and I will talk about different things in our lives and things we've done and things we maybe still hope to do.
I know young people say it how it is, and so hopefully I can learn a little bit from them because they're pretty smart at a young age nowadays. Much more than years ago when I grew up. So I can learn a little bit.
Well, it's just so nice to talk to young people. They're faced with a taunting world in a lot of ways, but a very exciting world for the future with AI and all the new technologies that are coming. Is going to be quite something. And I sort of I'm envious because I would love to live through this next period myself.
I would like to hear what she anticipates in her journey through life ahead and what she would like to do.
In terms of conversations with the elderly, do you have a lot of opportunities to speak with people older than you?
I would not say no, not really. Most of my whole family lives in Ontario. So I don't see them very much. We do chat on the phone sometimes, but it's probably like once a month. Not really, not even.
Well, like when I sometimes visit Saskatchewan to see my family, I go to this like my great grandma's old folks home, and I enjoy having conversations with those people.
I'm an extrovert, and I just like talking to people, and I find it really cool, like knowing people's stories and stuff. Yeah, so I was in band last year and the year before, and we would go to the Berwick community a lot and get to talk with the seniors. And I do a lot of volunteering. I volunteered at the Art in the Garden, and there was a lot of old people there.
Well, it'd be nice to get generations together. Obviously, their lives are rather different to ours in terms of when you're young. So it'll be interesting to swap ideas, yeah.
I just love children, and I think it's great to be able to relate my life to what their life is like and how we grew up. And, you know, what expectations do these young people have?
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Well, I do have one teenager who is my grandson, but I have many grandsons. They're all grown up.
Well, I just want to kind of find out what her story is, how long she's lived here, where does she go to school, does she have interests, or hobbies or things that she does in her free time, what does she do, And I'm sure she's got some kind of activities. I mean, she's coming here.
I often visit my grandparents, like I was supposed to today, but something came up, clearly. I wouldn't say I have an extreme amount of conversations with the older generation because I just don't have that much time around them, like that much exposure. And I'd like to have more conversations with people, like different perspectives, because I think that's really important.
In your day-to-day life, do you have a lot of opportunities to speak with seniors?
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a lot of them in Parksville, so, you know, like holding the door open for someone or something like that.
I do get the chance to interact with seniors when I work at the Quality Foods here in Parksville, like just in passing conversation and small talk when I'm assisting customers. But aside from that, I don't have much interaction with seniors, no.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of excited to talk because they know a lot about life and stuff. Like they've been around for a bit longer than I have, so.
I just want to know a little bit about her, like her life so far and what she's experienced and what I can kind of take away from that and learn from, for sure.
Have you ever done podcasting before?
I have not. My friend was going to bring me into a podcast before, and I think we're still planning on doing that. So that will be fun. And I don't know, I'm just kind of open-minded when it comes to this. I don't know. Yeah, I think it's fun.
Oh, my expectations. You know, honestly, I've kept it really open. I haven't even looked at some of your other stuff online because I just wanted to just be surprised and free flow. Yeah, but I'm excited. I know we're going to have fun. There's an expectation of fun.
What age would you call a senior? When do you kind of become a senior citizen?
I'm thinking 65-ish, 70.
Yeah.
It better not be 55 because I don't feel senior at all. Like I'm still junior to a lot of people that know way more about life than I do.
But you're still, I think, able to talk to a 15-year-old and give a lot of life experience, right?
I hope so.
In history class, we talk about like the 1800s, but like we don't really talk about that much about what happens in the 1900s or like the late, like in the 90s and the 80s and maybe even in the 70s. We don't really talk about that in a historical context because it's not really history yet. But if we don't talk about it, then we don't know about it that much. It is presented through media in lots of different ways, but it's still nice to hear about it from people.
Of course, and that's kind of the whole heart of this project because you're right. You know, it's important to understand the Magna Carta and all this stuff that happened like thousands of years ago. But you know, to your point, 1975 was 50 years ago.
Yeah,
and that's a long time. You know, actually, and so even learning things in modern history probably have lessons to teach us today. That's a really good point. Welcome to Podio Studio. This is a small video podcasting studio in downtown Parksville, and we're going to be treating this as home base for our series. All the interviews that you're about to see are going to take place in this room, and they are going to be between a senior and a teen. I'm actually going to be over there in the corner, and our focus point is mostly going to be on our guests. The first interview that we are showcasing is between Liz and Jet.
My name is Liz.
And what year were you born?
Born 1946.
Awesome. And where did you grow up?
I grew up in Parksville. I came here when I was 2 years old.
Wow. And been here ever since, eh?
And, well, in the area ever since, yes.
My name is Jet. I was born in 2012.
Wonderful. And where did you grow up?
I grew up in Regina, Saskatchewan.
Liz first moved to Parksville in 1948 and has lived in the Oceanside area for most of her life. She's also a volunteer with the Parksville Museum. I'm really looking forward to hearing this conversation, and Jet has a lot of questions about the post-war period in Parksville and how the city has changed over its history.
Parksville is a beautiful holiday spot, the beach, the smallness of the town, quiet, a great place to live.
Okay. Well, welcome to Podio Studio, you guys. Thank you so much for passing by this afternoon. This is a taping of our new video podcast series called Branches Between Generations. The subject of this first episode is all about the history of Parksville.
As a teenager, soon to be, how is life in Parksville?
I definitely really like it.
What types of things do you do? Are you involved with you and your friends?
Well, I do beach volleyball down at the community park.
Fantastic.
Yes. With some of my friends. I like to go shopping just around town.
Mm-hmm.
Fun and hang out for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, sports has always been good in Parksville over the years. And in those years, in the 50s, Parksville had a baseball team. This is an adult baseball team. They were called the Parksville Loggers. And they have the games in what is now the community park in Parksville. There was a grandstand around two sides of that field where people could sit and watch. And that's long gone. But that used to fill, and people would be on the bank too, that went up to the highway, and sitting and watching. Great crowds would come to watch these ball games.
That does sound very fun. What was like the sandcastles?
Oh, I can go back to thinking of the years when the sandcastle first started. Of course, it was on the beach. It lasted one day because the tide would come in and take away all the castles. But it was very, very crowded. I remember the opening. I think it was one of the first years they did it. They got a new sidewalk, which is now the boardwalk, but it was nowhere near the length. It was very short. And that was the main thing. We had a Miss Parksville in those years, many years, and the candidates would parade down the sidewalk, and then the castles would be built out in the sand, and of course rushing for the tide, which would happen. I remember one time going to them, and it had started to rain. So not only did the castles but all the people decided they wanted to leave. I think we sat in traffic for 2 hours just to get out of Parksville. It's really nice to see it developed and the community spirit that's involved with all of the festivities that go along with Sandcastle.
I went to see the sandcastles about 2 days ago, and they were incredible.
They were, yes. There have always been activities, albeit different from what we did during my younger years here. But Parksville has always been a fun place. There have been things to do, places to go. Parksville was very, very small then. We lived in a 2-room cabin out on Pioneer Crescent. We had no running water. We had a pump out in the backyard where we got our drinking water and water for anything else that was needed. There was no toilet facilities. We had an outhouse in the backyard. Of course, there was no TV. We did have electricity. And we had, over years, built much more built over the next 10 years, where we had proper running water, proper facilities, bedrooms, and garage out in the yard for my parents' new car, which wasn't a new car, of course, but it was new for them. Because at first, in the first years we were here, my parents didn't have a car, and they rode bicycles, and I rode on the back of one of their bicycles as a small child. One time I remember getting my leg caught in the wheel. It was quite a stupendous hurt. But growing up, then the schools would pick me up as a school bus, take me into Parksville for school through grade 6, 1 through 6 here at McMillan. And then 7, 8, and 9, I went to school at Parksville Junior High, which is what is now the Civic Center. And then in those years, Parksville, you couldn't go any further. We had to go to Qualicum to finish our schooling. Parksville did have high schools in the 40s. The last graduating class from McMillan was 1952. But from then on, then the new school was built in Qualicum, and that's where all of us went for many years. till Bolinas was built in the late 70s.
But like, how was school back then?
Oh, school was, I always enjoyed school. At Macmillan, we had certainly not what schools have today. We had gravel playing grounds, we had monkey bars, we had swings outside. The rooms are still there that I went to school in. And we had a field out the back where we'd play ball. Of course, we didn't have electronic bells. The grade 5 class got to ring the bell out a window every day. So a monitor did that, and we, as grade 5 students, we took turns being the monitor to ring the bell. It was quite exciting. Also, the festivities in Parksville, what have developed into Beach Fest now, is so big. But we had a May Day celebration every year on the 24th of May weekend, and the grade 3s and the grade 4s would dance a maypole at the community park, which is now all a ball fields. But that was a big festivity. There was a big parade, and it was a lot of fun. Parksville just celebrated its 80th inception as the city of Parksville. It started as Village of Parksville, of course, but there were some pictures there in the city hall that the museum had supplied, and it was just neat to see. One particular picture that stands out in mind that I remember was the visit of the Princess Elizabeth and the Prince Philip in 1952, before she was queen. And it shows the crowd in what was then downtown Parksville, which is where the first lights were, which weren't there then. And a crowd of people she drove through. She had stayed at Eagle Crest and was driving through, probably to Victoria. And the crowd of people that were there just to see her drive by. It was a fun picture because I remember I was disappointed I wasn't in that picture, but I remembered where I was when that picture was taken, which was just on the outskirts of the picture. It was a big day.
That does sound like a very fun day.
Have you ever been to the Museum Jet or any of these old museums?
I've been to the Qualicum Museum.
Liz, what is the value of museums and talking about community history?
It's a way of being able to look into the past, to evaluate it, to enjoy it, and to see just where we have come from. And for the most part, improved. Do you have a memory from your childhood here in Parksville that stands out?
Like the first time I learned how to ride a bike, we were in the grass at my grandma's house, and they had taken my training wheels off, and my dad promised he would hold on to the thing. It might have been my mom that promised to hold on to the back, but she said she would, and then she didn't, and I was just going. And I didn't know how to stop, so I was just going until I crashed into something. Do you have any memorable childhood memories from here?
I'm trying to think of the things that we used to do as in growing up. Of course, we had TV, but 2 channels maybe we would get if we were lucky. And so we didn't have phones, cell phones. We didn't have things that we didn't have. We'd listen to usually Vancouver radio stations for music, activities. We used to ride our bikes a lot. We'd ride regularly. Of course, the highways were considerably quieter than they are now, considerably safer. We wouldn't think at all of riding. We'd go out to Coombs, we'd go out to Arrington, we'd go into the Noose with not a second thought, and never had to wear helmets.
Yeah.
Life was a lot quieter then, certainly for us, but we were very active. Myself and my friends, Many of us went all the way from grade 1 to grade 12 together, and we still still meet regularly, which is lovely to do.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, guys. Can I get a handshake between the two of you? If you guys are comfortable with that. Perfect. Thanks so much for coming in today. Thanks so much for being a part of this conversation. And yeah, I'm really appreciating of your guys' time here. Cool. The next section, I wanted to bring in my good friends, Alice and Bonnie. They work with the Society of Organized Services, District 69, or as we call it here in Parksville, the SOS. The SOS has been helping enriching the lives of both seniors and teens since 1968. They are a true community organization, and I wanted to have Alice and Bonnie in studio to talk about the specific challenges that youth and seniors face. Let's have a listen.
My name is Bonnie Brown. I am the Manager of Client Services and Administration at SOS.
So my name is Alice Tulia. I am the SOS Child, Youth and Family Programs Manager.
I've lived in Parksville now for just over 7 years, and I love it here.
I grew up in Tonga in the South Pacific and have lived here in Parksville since 2007 with my family.
That is awesome. And how would you describe Parksville to somebody who's never visited?
I would describe Parksville as a paradise, almost similar to Tonga, growing from an island to an island. You get the best of both worlds. You get the mountains and the rivers and the lakes, and then you also have the ocean nearby.
So Parksville is a blend of singles, families, retirees, and a lot of seniors as well. It's also a dichotomy of the really wealthy, kind of the working poor, and then the individuals who are living in poverty or even under the poverty line. So it's kind of both ends of the spectrum. It's quite an interesting dynamic to live in this community.
Having my own family, it's a great place to raise your family because of all the outdoor things that you can do. And it's a nice, quiet area to live in. At the same time, there's also other challenges that are around us, but just seeing a great community that support each other. So that's what I love about Parksville.
I go hiking every weekend with my dogs and just absolutely love it. And it really is paradise. But it also draws a lot of the less fortunate as well, because it is a warmer climate, especially to the mainland, and then across Canada into the prairies and even east.
Thank you for acknowledging that, because that's a really important. A lot of people did use that word paradise, and I think it's important to acknowledge the various people's not only just income, but just accessibility to different things. And you know, I think about communities like Charlottetown, PEI, which are also very touristic, but then they're buried under snow for 8 months of the year.
Yes.
Right. So with the climate, it allows people to be outside all of the year, but that's not always a positive. You know, there's like negative repercussions that come with that. So I think that's a very important. Thank you for touching on that, because that's a very unique perspective. On the subject of community that supports each other, can you tell us a little bit about the SOS? What is your understanding of their history?
So SOS, again, was from 3 women that got together at a kitchen table discussing that there were some gaps in the community. And so that's my understanding about the SOS is they support programs and fill in the gaps in the community. So they're always coming up with programs. And that's what had drawn me to the organization itself, because I knew they were helping people and they were supporting people that needed help.
For me, I mean, that's the true sense of grassroots. 3 women sitting around a kitchen table wanting to help, seeing the need in the community and wanting to help. And absolutely, that is a factor for wanting to work here, because I can see the good that we do, the help that we provide, and the lives that we touch.
That's wonderful. Cool. So I guess we'll get into kind of the meat and potatoes of why I wanted to have you in here today. Somebody who works with seniors and has an extensive experience. What is something that a young person, 16, 17, 18, coming out of high school, may not understand or relate to the plight or the problems of elderly citizens?
Well, I think that particularly youth, I kind of joke a little bit that kids today are born with an iPad in their hand, and they don't understand that seniors don't have the same technological skills.
Right.
Seniors they're dealing with a lot of, over the years, whether, they're 70, 80, 90, the loss, the grief, the family, the loved ones that they've lost, that youth just don't understand that aspect. Seniors also may not have the same earning potential. Once you get onto pensions, it's a fixed income, and there are issues with cognitive decline, mental health decline, and other areas that I think, youth are like young and energetic, and, they're king of the world and they can do anything. And the seniors were like that once. Again, kids are built of, muscle and
Made of
energy.
rubber, yeah.
Yes, made of rubber. I love that. Whereas seniors, they're not so much anymore. And so, I think the youth may not quite understand that.
What are some unique things that today's youth, because again, one thing I love about podcasting, and like, I'm a history guy and I want to ground this, and this is 2025, right? This is the digital age of youth. Is there something specifically that these kids are going through that the previous generations wouldn't relate with?
Yeah, just like you said, this generation is the digital age generation. So with that, that's something I think that some of the generations, even myself, we kind of like not really understand. And with the digital age comes its own unique issues as well. So what we see in the youth, the challenges that they go through is the constant online pressure, the social media comparison, the need to build a digital identity, and all of these affect their mental health as well.
When we're talking about mental health, it's so hard to create comparisons, because I really, and I don't like it too much, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. When you have people who grew up in the war era, and experienced their very early memories of like bombings and things like this, and then you have kids saying, "No, my cell phone creates anxiety." How do we bring these two things together? Because I really don't think the older generation looks at the traumas as legitimate. Would you agree with that line of thinking, that it's almost like, it's just a phone?
Yeah.
It's almost, they almost dismiss it.
Yeah. I think it's finding the commonalities in the trauma that we face, because no matter what difficulties, I'm sure there's something that we can have a commonality where we can support each other. We can learn from the other person through a small thing, so that we can relate and connect. I'm sure there's always a bridge that we can connect on. I don't think that we can say, "Oh, your issue is irrelevant to my issue." I think there's somewhere that there is going to be a bridge where we can connect and somehow go through it. I mean, just listening is huge, and sometimes we underestimate the small things of just listening to someone's story and not and without judgment. And that's what we hope at the SOS is like, being curious to listen to people's stories, just providing the space for them to just let it out, and we're there to just listen.
And I love that. And I think we share that philosophy, between SOS and even what we're doing here. We use the word branch or bridge or, whatever you want to call it. But it's about providing the opportunity for people to come together and listen to each other.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Alice.
Yeah.
That was wonderful. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. And I will let you go. I'll just ask, kind of just in closing, what would you say to a young person who is wanting to have more conversations and learn more from the previous generations? What would you say to encourage them to do something like that?
The seniors have so much experience and history and knowledge, and and also back in the day things were a lot different, and you can really learn a lot from them. And I spent time with a senior when I first moved here, and the stories she would tell me and of how life used to be and everything that she lived through, like, I had such great respect for her and for what she had done. And she's turning 90 this year. And so I think there's really definitely a lot to be learned from each other. And it also kind of gives you an insight into, like the future of you might be built of rubber right now, but 50 years from now, 60 years from now, you're not. So maybe be a little bit careful on yourself and make sure you wear your helmet when you're riding your bike and skateboarding.
I love it. Well, thanks so much, Bonnie. We'll get you out of here, but really
all right.
appreciate you coming
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Again, my name is Clinton. Join us in the next episode where we're going to be talking about love and partnerships. Stay tuned.